Before you click away, let me say this: the quiet moments hurt more than the fights. If you've ever felt a woman slipping away while smiling at you, this video is for you. I'm asking you now, subscribe to this channel and like this video, because what you're about to hear might save you years of confusion. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist and as a woman, not to accuse, but to clarify. One of the clearest signs she doesn't love you anymore is emotional efficiency. Love is inefficient. It lingers, it circles back, it wants to repair. When a woman stops loving, she becomes precise. Conversations shorten, conflicts end quickly. Not because they're resolved, but because she no longer needs resolution with you. You may notice she's calm in moments where she used to care. That calm feels mature, even respectful, but it's actually distance wearing good manners. She listens without leaning in. She agrees without engaging. Her eyes don't search your face for safety or approval. She's already safe somewhere else emotionally. Another sign is when your presence no longer changes her internal state. When a woman loves you, you matter to her nervous system. Your mood affects her. Your absence creates a pull. When love fades, you become informational, not emotional. She hears your problems like news, not like something that stirs her. Watch for the absence of curiosity. Love asks questions even after years. When she stops asking about your thoughts, your plans, or your inner world, it's not because she knows you so well. It's because she's stopped updating her emotional map of you. And here's the one men miss the most. She stops risking disappointment. No expectations, no pressure, no complaints. That feels peaceful, but it's the peace of disengagement. A woman who loves will risk being let down because the connection matters. When she doesn't love you, she protects herself by wanting nothing. None of this makes her cruel. It makes her human. And none of this means you're unworthy. It means the bond has changed, quietly, before words ever caught up. Stay with me, breathe, and don't rush to defend or deny. Awareness is power when used with honesty. What you do next matters more than what you fear right now. And clarity, even when painful, is the beginning of real self-respect for you, as a man seeking grounded, healthy connection forward. There is a behavior that looks like loyalty, but is actually withdrawal. And it confuses men deeply. She still shows up. She still answers messages. She still says the right things. But she stops sharing herself. When a woman loves you, she volunteers her inner world. When she doesn't, she keeps it locked and gives you only logistics. You'll notice she tells you what she's doing, but not how she feels about it. Facts replace feelings. Schedules replace stories. This isn't maturity. This is emotional containment. She's managing interaction, not building intimacy. Another sign is selective vulnerability. She may open up, but only about safe, resolved topics. Childhood memories, old struggles, distant pain. What disappears is present tense honesty. She doesn't tell you what scares her now, what she's unsure about now, or how you affect her now. Love needs immediacy. Distance prefers the past. Pay attention to how she handles your wins and losses. When love fades, celebration becomes polite, and disappointment becomes inconvenient. She congratulates you without excitement. She comforts you without warmth. Her responses are correct, but they don't linger. Emotionally invested women linger. She also stops correcting you. This one sounds positive to men. Less criticism, less tension, but correction is investment. It means she still imagines a future with you that she wants to protect. When she lets you be wrong, reckless, or emotionally unaware without engaging, she's already stepped out of that future mentally. There's also a subtle shift in physical presence. Touch becomes functional, not expressive. Hugs are brief. Kisses lack pause. Sex, if it exists, feels disconnected from eye contact and aftercare. The body often tells the truth before the mouth dares to. If you feel like you're slowly becoming optional instead of chosen, trust that perception. Men are often taught to doubt their emotional instincts. Don't. Love makes you feel anchored. Its absence makes you feel tolerated. That feeling isn't weakness, it's information. And what you do with information defines your growth, your boundaries, and your future relationships. Sit with that truth without rushing to fix her or yourself. Clarity hurts, but confusion drains you longer. A man who listens early can choose dignity over desperation and strength over denial, even when his heart wants to bargain. Awareness is not the end. It is the quiet start of becoming emotionally sovereign, especially when silence finally explains what excuses kept hidden for years inside. One of the most painful signs she doesn't love you is how she handles your emotional bids. A bid is any moment you reach for connection, a joke, a look, a sigh, a story. When love is alive, she catches those bids almost instinctively. When love fades, they land on the floor unnoticed. You might feel like you're suddenly trying harder to get the same response you once received effortlessly. You exaggerate your humor. You explain yourself more. You soften your tone. That's not because you've changed. It's because the emotional receiver on her end has been turned down. Notice how often she's too tired emotionally, but not physically. She has energy for work, friends, screens, plans. But when it comes to depth with you, there's a ceiling. That ceiling isn't exhaustion. It's emotional prioritization. Love makes room even when energy is low. Another subtle shift is how she frames problems. When a woman loves you, it's us versus the issue. When she doesn't, it becomes you versus me. Language changes quietly. We need to figure this out. Turns into that's just how you are. One invites repair. The other ends discussion. Watch how she reacts to your vulnerability. Not anger, not cruelty, indifference. When your pain no longer moves her, when she listens without softness or follow-up, it's a signal that her attachment has loosened. Love responds, disengagement observes. She may also start protecting her independence in new ways. Not healthy autonomy, but emotional separation. She emphasizes space, boundaries, and self-focus suddenly, especially if those weren't central before. Independence isn't the issue, timing is. When it appears alongside emotional withdrawal, it's often a quiet exit strategy. And here's a truth men rarely hear. When a woman stops loving, she often becomes nicer before she leaves. Less conflict, less demand, less intensity. That kindness isn't warmth, it's closure preparation. She's reducing friction so she can detach without guilt. If you feel like you're walking on emotional glass, unsure what will reach her and what won't, trust that discomfort. Healthy love feels responsive, not fragile. You should feel felt, not managed. This is not about blame. It's about recognizing reality without self-betrayal. You don't need to earn love by shrinking or overperforming. When love is present, effort multiplies connection. When it's gone, effort only exhausts you. Your power begins the moment you stop confusing silence for peace and distance for maturity. Awareness doesn't weaken you, it steadies you. And a steady man can finally choose truth over hope that has stopped choosing him back. Another sign hides in how time feels around her. Not how much time you spend together, but how expandable you are within it. When a woman loves you, she stretches moments. She lingers on calls. She delays endings. She finds small reasons to stay a little longer. When love fades, time becomes tight around you and loose everywhere else. You may notice she's always in transition, about to leave, about to sleep, about to start something else. You catch her between moments, never inside one. That constant motion isn't busyness, it's avoidance without drama. Pay attention to how she reacts when you pull back slightly. Not disappear, just soften your pursuit. In love, a woman notices immediately. She leans in, asks, senses the shift. When she doesn't love you, she barely registers. Or worse, she seems relieved. Relief is not a neutral emotion, it's information. There's also a change in how she remembers your shared history. Stories lose warmth. Memories sound factual, not alive. She recounts experiences with you like chapters already closed, not moments still emotionally accessible. Love keeps memories emotionally current. Disengagement archives them. Watch for how often she redirects emotional depth. When conversations drift toward meaning, future, or feelings, she steers them back to neutral ground. Humor, practicalities, external topics. This isn't because she dislikes depth. It's because depth with you feels misaligned now. Another subtle sign is comparison. Even when unspoken, she may reference other people's relationships, independence, or lifestyles more often, not to inspire, but to create contrast. She's unconsciously validating an internal narrative where separation feels like growth. And here's a hard truth. When a woman stops loving, she often stops imagining you suffering without her. Empathy shifts. she can picture leaving without fully feeling the impact on you. That emotional distance is what allows her to stay calm while you feel destabilized. If you find yourself overanalyzing tone, timing, and tiny shifts, it's not because you're insecure, it's because your nervous system is responding to inconsistency. Consistent love calms. Inconsistent attachment activates. This is where many men try harder, thinking effort will revive emotion. But love isn't a performance metric. You cannot persuade someone back into emotional alignment by proving worth. Worth was never the issue. Your task here isn't to confront aggressively or collapse inward. It's to observe honestly, to stop filling silence with self-blame, to recognize that when connection becomes something you have to chase, it has already changed form. Clarity hurts once. Self-abandonment hurts repeatedly. And the moment you stop chasing signals that aren't being sent, you begin reclaiming your emotional footing, your dignity, and the quiet strength that comes from seeing reality clearly, even when it costs you the fantasy you were holding on to. One of the most overlooked signs she doesn't love you is how she handles the future when you're in it. Not rejection, not arguments, vagueness. The future becomes foggy, flexible, non-committal. Plans stay short-term. Dreams stop including you organically. When love is present, the future feels assumed. When it's gone, it becomes optional. Listen closely to her language. We'll see. I don't know yet. Let's not think too far ahead. These phrases sound reasonable, even mature, but repeated over time, they signal emotional hesitation. Love doesn't need certainty about everything, but it carries direction. Indifference prefers ambiguity. Another sign shows up in how she receives reassurance. When a woman loves you, reassurance lands and settles her. When she doesn't, it slides off. You tell her you care, and instead of softening, she deflects, jokes, or changes the subject. It's not because she doubts you. It's because she doesn't want to deepen something she's already emotionally stepping away from. Notice how rarely she initiates repair. If tension appears, she waits for it to pass rather than working through it. Silence replaces resolution. Time replaces conversation. That's not emotional regulation. That's emotional withdrawal. Repair is effort, and effort only makes sense when the bond still matters. She may also become strangely fair, balanced, even. No emotional highs, no lows. This emotional neutrality feels stable, but it lacks polarity. Love has charge. Detachment seeks equilibrium. If everything feels flat, even the good moments, that flatness is meaningful. Another subtle shift is how she reacts to your growth. When you improve, change, or step into confidence, she acknowledges it, but doesn't celebrate it. There's no sense of "this excites me." Sometimes there's even distance. When love fades, your evolution no longer feels personally relevant to her. Here's something difficult, but important. When a woman stops loving, she often stops seeing you as a partner and starts seeing you as a phase, not in a cruel way, in a narrative way. You become part of her story, not her present. That shift changes everything, quietly. If you feel like you're holding emotional weight alone, you are. Love is shared gravity. When one person stops pulling, the other feels heavier. That weight isn't proof you need to do more. It's proof the dynamic has changed. Your responsibility is not to convince her to stay emotionally invested. Your responsibility is to notice when you are the only one investing and choose yourself before resentment replaces self-respect. A man who honors reality early preserves his dignity, his energy, and his ability to love again without fear or exhaustion later. Now listen carefully. One of the most devastating signs she doesn't love you is the way she responds to your attempts at intimacy. Not physical intimacy alone, emotional intimacy. When love is alive, intimacy is a bridge. When love fades, it becomes a door she doesn't want to open. You may feel like you're always the one initiating closeness, not just sex, but deep conversations, quiet moments, vulnerability. She agrees to be close, but she doesn't meet you there. It's like she's standing on the other side of a glass wall, watching you, but not touching you. If she stops sharing what's happening in her day, what's on her mind, what she's worried about, it's not just busyness, it's protection. She's closing her heart's windows so you can't see inside. When love fades, the heart doesn't disappear. It just stops offering itself. Pay attention to the tone of her affection. Love feels warm, unguarded, and sometimes messy. It's not perfect, but it's real. When she doesn't love you, affection becomes controlled. She hugs you like a friend. She kisses you like a routine. She smiles like she's performing. Her warmth is safe, but not alive. Another sign is how she talks about you to others, not in a jealous or possessive way, but in a neutral way. When she loves you, she brags about you. She defends you. She includes you in her identity. When she doesn't, you become something she mentions, not something she carries. You may also notice she stops needing you. Not in a healthy independence sense, but in a way that feels like relief. When love is present, a woman needs you in her life because you matter to her inner world. When love fades, she's fine without you because you no longer impact her emotional state. Here's the most painful truth. Women don't always leave with anger. Sometimes they leave with quiet. And quiet can be the most terrifying thing for a man who still loves her, because it doesn't feel like closure. It feels like an unfinished sentence. If you're sensing this, don't chase her silence. Silence is not a puzzle to solve. It's a boundary she's setting, even if she hasn't said it out loud. And your job is not to break that boundary. Your job is to respect yourself enough to stop banging on a door that's already closed. You can still love her. You can still feel hurt. But you cannot keep building your life around someone who has emotionally stepped out. The truth is not the end of love. It's the beginning of real healing. And real healing starts when you stop bargaining with the version of her that used to love you. You've made it this far because your heart has been trying to tell you something, and now you're finally hearing it. The final sign she doesn't love you is the most difficult one to accept because it hits you where you're most vulnerable, your self-worth. When love is present, you feel seen, not just for what you do, but for who you are. When love fades, you feel unseen. Even when she's physically present, you feel invisible. You speak, and she hears you, but she doesn't listen. You laugh, and she smiles, but she doesn't join. That's not a lack of attention. It's a lack of investment. You may notice she stops apologizing, not because she's always right, but because she no longer cares about your emotional experience. Apologies aren't just about admitting fault. They're about acknowledging the other person's feelings. When love fades, acknowledgement fades too. Another sign is her response to your needs. Not just big needs, but small ones. A text when you're anxious, a call when you're lonely, a gesture when you're stressed. Love sees those needs and responds. Disengagement sees them as inconvenience. She may say, "I'm busy," or "I can't deal with that right now," more often. Those words don't mean she's cruel. They mean she's emotionally unavailable. And here's the truth most men avoid. When she doesn't love you, she will not fight for you. Not the way you imagine. She won't argue with you. She won't beg you to stay. She won't try to fix it. She will simply stop. Because stopping is easier than facing the pain of leaving. You might think you can win her back by becoming a better version of yourself. And while self-improvement is powerful, it won't bring her back if her heart has already left. Love isn't a reward for effort. It's a connection that either exists or it doesn't. So what do you do now? You let the truth be your guide. You stop searching for reasons to stay in a relationship that is emotionally ending. You stop apologizing for wanting to be loved fully. You stop trying to earn affection that is no longer offered. You deserve a woman who looks at you like you matter. A woman who listens to your words like they're sacred. A woman who chooses you, not because you're convenient, but because she wants you. If she doesn't love you, the most courageous thing you can do is stop chasing her and start choosing yourself. And if you need to, rewind this video, take notes, because this is the kind of truth men rarely hear, but desperately need. You are not weak for feeling this. You are not wrong for wanting love. You are simply human, and now you are awake.